laughter. The internet. It's connecting people, it's crossing boundaries, it's transforming lives. In the field of medicine, the internet is even saving them.
Wednesday morning at around 4 a.m, Chris woke up and asked, "Dad, can I have some Coca-Cola?"
You cannot imagine how I felt. I had my son back.
This is a story of a group of families who formed a powerful bond across the globe. They found each other, they found answers to their children's rare and strange affliction.
Wow, isn't that fantastic?
And a pioneering surgeon that changed their lives. Christopher is from England. So is George. Blake lives in the US. Professor Jeffrey Rosenfeld is in Melbourne, Australia. Without the internet, they would probably have never met.
I burst into tears. I just felt so emotional because for the first time here was somebody who could help us really with the root cause.
Christopher was laughing from the day he was born. It would fill most first-time parents with joy. But as he grew older, the laughter became more manic and distressed.
We were given all sorts of reasons. He had 101 different viral infections. One doctor even mentioned he had a tickly voice box.
Christopher's parents soon found out his laughter could kill. He would drop down unconscious, injure himself, and choke on food. Christopher had gelastic epilepsy, a rare condition distinguished by laughing seizures. It's caused by hypothalamic hamartoma, a benign brain tumour at the base of the brain. Despite drug treatment, he was having seizures every 2 minutes, around 300 a day.
Oh, what's Lola got?
He's never met George or his parents.
Got some toys.
But George was suffering from the same affliction.
When it's driving home, he's got
He developed the autistic tendencies and learning difficulties as well.
Yeah, on the board.
On the board.
They sort of said, look, we can find these things now on scans, but there's not much we can do about them at the moment, and we just have to hope that within George's lifetime something will come along.
Something did. The internet. Jill Mabin would search for hours, sending messages into cyberspace, hoping for an answer. She found it. From 6 families who'd formed a support group known as Hugs.
So I got an email from somebody in the States saying, we think you've got a child with a hamartoma. And I was thinking, wow, how did you know that?
In America, Robert and Rhonda Bing found the web group too. Their child Blake has a laughing tumour. They also had no answers either. Then someone in Australia clicked on and told them of pioneering surgery to remove the hamartoma, being done in Melbourne. Most doctors said it was impossible.
They told us not to come over here, not to have anybody operate on it because it's inoperable. They told us to wait. He's too young, maybe if he's 7 or 8 or 9. And as the seizures got worse, we knew we had to do something.
We and others have shown clearly that the epilepsy comes from this abnormal area in the centre of the brain, deep in the brain near the hypothalamus, actually coming from the hypothalamus of the brain, which is really like one of the main control centres of the brain, and that's why people have been quite reluctant to approach that surgically.
Blake and his family have come to Australia. His operation is today.
The hamartoma is
Epileptologist Dr. Simon Harvey talks them through it.
Now, what's going to happen in the operation today is that Professor Rosenfeld, rather than doing a very risky operation which is going down from below, we're going to come from above, and with a small opening in the skin and the skull, he'll come down between the 2 sides of the brain.
Professor Rosenfeld is the first surgeon to use a transcolossal approach to remove this type of tumour. It's a standard approach to remove brain tumours, but not for hypothalamic hamartomas. Surgeons usually access them from lower in the skull, but that's a very risky procedure.
The problem with doing that is twofold. First of all, there are a lot of very delicate blood vessels and nerves in that area, and it's very easy to damage those or cause the blood vessels to go into spasm. And that, if that happens, then that can cause a stroke.
Professor Rosenfeld's approach is still a delicate procedure.
Just down in there is the fissure between the 2 halves of the brain. Right down in there, that's where I'm going to go.
The hypothalamus gland controls memory, hormones and control of sleep, appetite and salt and water balance.
All of those other complications are treatable, whereas the epilepsy is not treatable. So if you balance up the pros and cons, the pros, to me, far outweigh the cons.
To guide him, Professor Rosenfeld uses a navigational tool that transmits information to a computer. The computer calculates where he is holding the tip of the instrument in relation to the head, so he can see exactly where he is inside Blake's brain. After a 6-hour operation, Blake's hematoma is removed.
It was tougher than usual, but I've just taken my time and patiently gone through it and carefully gone through it, and I think we're looking at a good result.
Professor Rosenfeld is having spectacular results.
He's doing fine.
Blake is the 16th child to be operated on.
He's doing really well.
Both George and Christopher, back in England, and all the other children around the world who came before them, are so far completely seizure-free. Each child's progress is closely followed and encouraged by the ever-growing cyber family.
I keep forgetting to actually spell it out in the updates, but George has had no seizures since the op. This is truly amazing, and we have to keep saying this to ourselves. It doesn't yet seem real. He's much more alert, he's wanting to talk to people, he's much less autistic. He's beginning to pick up pens, starting to do writing, colouring in, things that he just never did before. I mean, it's just so exciting.
Can you get some
Oh, I
sleep?
can't sleep. I need earmuffs. You snore so loud. It's still disbelief in the fact of, you know, it's just like a miracle, like a dream come true in the fact that he's now a much more brighter child. He can converse. It's almost, he's come out of a shell. He's a happier child.
In the recovery room, Rhonda can't wait to announce the news. Blake is doing fine. And thanks to the network of friends she's never met and one Australian surgeon, his prognosis too looks good.
You did it, bud. You did it.